You're lying in bed, the room is dark, your phone is face down on the nightstand. You have to be up in 7 hours and you know it, and yet, your brain won't stop. It replays a conversation from 3 days ago. It invents problems that don't exist yet. It lists everything you forgot to do and everything you should worry about tomorrow. And somewhere between the ceiling and your own thoughts, a full hour disappears. You wonder if something is wrong with you. You wonder if everyone else falls asleep this easily, or if you're the only one lying in the dark like this, watching minutes vanish. There isn't anything wrong with you. What's happening inside your skull right now is one of the oldest survival programs on Earth, and it was never meant to let you rest. Here's the truth your mattress can't fix. The reason you can't fall asleep isn't poor habits, bad lighting, or too much coffee. The reason is that your brain has not yet learned that the dark is safe. For most of human history, the night was the most dangerous part of the day. Your ancestors didn't live in houses with locks. They slept in open landscapes where predators moved freely in darkness. A lion doesn't wait for business hours. A rival group doesn't announce an attack at dawn as a courtesy. The moment the sun went down, survival demanded a different kind of attention. Not sleep, but vigilance. This is where a piece of your biology got permanently stamped into place. Researchers call it hypervigilant arousal. It is a state in which the brain deliberately resists full unconsciousness because unconsciousness is vulnerable. In 2019, sleep scientist Matthew Walker, author of Why We Sleep, described the human brain as existing in a state of evolutionary tension between the need to recover and the need to survive. Full, unguarded sleep was a luxury, and luxury was not on the ancestral menu. Your body doesn't know that 300,000 years have passed. It doesn't know about the lock on your door, the walls around your house, or the fact that the last predator in your neighborhood was a raccoon knocking over your bins. When the lights go off and the world goes quiet, your ancient threat detection system powers up, not down. That system lives in a small, almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. It processes threat, fear, and emotional memory, and in the dark, it becomes the loudest voice in the room. In 2016, neuroscientist Joseph LeDoux published decades of research showing that the amygdala operates on a shoot first, ask questions later principle. It does not distinguish between real danger and imagined danger. It responds to the possibility of a threat the same way it responds to the threat itself. So when you lie in the dark and your mind wanders toward a worst-case scenario, a health scare, a problem at work, a conversation that went sideways, the amygdala fires. Your heart rate rises slightly, cortisol creeps upward, and sleep retreats. This is not anxiety. This is architecture. This is the system working exactly as it was built to work. But here is where it gets stranger. Your body doesn't sleep in one continuous block. It never did. In 2001, historian Roger Ekirch published research that shattered the modern assumption that 8 straight hours of sleep is the natural human pattern. Across hundreds of historical documents, private diaries, court records, medical texts from medieval Europe, first-hand accounts from pre-industrial Africa and the Americas, he found consistent reference to something called first sleep and second sleep. Humans slept from roughly dusk until midnight. Then they woke up. They were awake for 1 to 2 hours, sometimes longer. They talked quietly. They prayed. They thought. Some wrote. Some simply lay still in the darkness and let their minds wander without pressure. And then they slept again until dawn. The gap between first sleep and second sleep was not a problem to be solved. It was the design. Psychiatrist Thomas Ware confirmed this in a landmark experiment at the National Institute of Mental Health. He removed artificial light from a group of volunteers for a full month, letting them live in conditions closer to those of pre-industrial humans. Within weeks, every participant's sleep restructured itself. They all began waking in the middle of the night. They were not anxious. They were not disturbed. They were calm, often in a state Ware described as gentle wakefulness, a half-dream state rich with quiet reflection and unusual mental clarity. What Ware had done was remove the thing that forces the brain to fight its own nature. That thing is light, not the darkness, the light. Here is what happens when you turn on a lamp at night. When you open your phone in bed, when the television flickers across a dark room, your eyes contain specialized photoreceptors called melanopsin cells. These cells evolved to detect only one thing, blue spectrum light, the same light that pours from a high noon sky. When they detect it, they fire a signal to a tiny region of your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And that nucleus does one thing in response. It tells your pineal gland to stop releasing melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that tells your body it is night. It doesn't put you to sleep directly. It prepares the conditions for sleep. It lowers your core body temperature, quiets the nervous system, softens the amygdala. When melatonin flows freely and at the right pace, sleep arrives naturally. When something shuts it off, a phone screen, an overhead bulb, a bright bathroom light at 10 at night, your body believes it is still the middle of the afternoon. and your brain obediently refuses to close down. You are lying in bed telling yourself to sleep while every biological signal in your body says the sun has not set yet. But even this is not the full story. Here is the part that almost no one talks about. Anxiety about sleep is often more disruptive than whatever disrupted your sleep in the first place. Sleep researchers call this sleep effort. The more deliberately you try to force yourself to fall asleep, the more you activate the very arousal systems that prevent it. You try harder. Your brain gets louder. You check the clock. You calculate exactly how many hours remain before your alarm. You start to spiral. Allison Harvey at the University of California, Berkeley, has spent decades studying insomnia and found that cognitive hyperarousal, a racing, self-monitoring mind in bed, is the single most consistent feature across chronic insomnia cases worldwide. Not pain, not breathing problems, not even caffeine. The mind turning on itself, watching itself, judging itself for not sleeping. That loop is what keeps people awake night after night after night. Your brain, built over hundreds of thousands of years for predator detection, is now detecting itself. And the harder you push against it, the more the ancient warning system interprets that effort as evidence that something is genuinely wrong. It escalates. You escalate. Nobody wins. So what does this mean for your nights? It means the fight was never the answer. Your ancestors didn't lie awake, commanding themselves to fall asleep. They didn't rehearse tomorrow's problems in the dark. What they had was something far simpler than anything sold in a wellness store. They had darkness. Real, total, unbroken darkness. Darkness that began at sunset and continued without interruption until dawn. Darkness that sent a clear, unambiguous signal to every cell in the body. The day is done. You are not required to be ready anymore. Modern life never sends that signal. You move from a bright office to a bright restaurant to a bright phone screen without a single moment of genuine low light in between. By the time your head hits the pillow, your body has received no preparation signal whatsoever. Sleep is not a switch you flip. It is a destination at the end of a 2-hour biological descent. And most people step off the plane expecting to already be there. The winding down your body is waiting for isn't a supplement or a meditation app. It is the oldest cue in existence. Light fading, temperature dropping, threat level falling. The ancient brain reading the environment and deciding, not commanded, not forced, just deciding, that the day has finished and the night is beginning. This is why sleep researchers now almost universally recommend what they call a dim light window, a period of 1 to 2 hours before bed during which bright overhead light is dramatically reduced. Not eliminated entirely, but dimmed enough that the melanopsin cells stop firing at full intensity. Enough that the suprachiasmatic nucleus begins releasing melatonin at the pace it was designed to work. Your body does not need to be hacked or supplemented into submission. It needs to receive the signal it has been waiting for since before humans built their first shelter. And that waking in the middle of the night, the one that happens around 2 or 3 in the morning and makes you panic because you can't figure out why you're awake, that is first sleep ending. That is the ancient design doing exactly what it was engineered to do across hundreds of thousands of years. The gap was never broken sleep. It was never a symptom of anything wrong. The gap was always the quiet center of the night. The hour when your ancestors lay half awake in dying firelight and simply existed, unhurried and undemanded, inside the darkness. You were not supposed to sleep through it. You were supposed to be in it. Think about the last time you woke at 2 or 3 in the morning for no obvious reason. Your heart wasn't racing. Nothing had happened. The room was completely still, and you lay there, suspended between sleep and waking, in a state that felt neither restful nor quite alert. That state has a name in medical literature. It is called hypnagogic consciousness, a threshold state of unusual mental openness. For most of human history, it wasn't classified as a problem. It was a built-in pause, a moment of quiet reflection in the middle of the night, without demands or light or noise, because even the most efficient survival machine needed an intermission. What changed everything was not stress, not diet, not the modern pace of life, though all of those play their roles. The single greatest disruption to human sleep across the entirety of recorded history arrived in 1879, when Thomas Edison lit a lamp that didn't go out with the sun, and the night, for the first time in 300,000 years of human evolution, became optional. Within 2 generations, the concept of 2 sleeps had disappeared from medical literature entirely. Within 5 generations, it had vanished from collective memory. By the time your parents were born, one solid block of sleep, 8 hours, all at once, uninterrupted, beginning at the same hour every night, was so thoroughly assumed to be normal that any deviation from it was formally classified as a disorder. But the biology never changed. Your amygdala still fires in the dark. Your melatonin still waits for a signal that modern evenings almost never deliver. Your brain still carves out a pause near the middle of the night, and you still wake up inside it, startled and confused, reaching for your phone to check the time as if the answer is there. Nothing woke you. The design just never forgot. Tonight, when the sun goes down, your body is going to start waiting for the same signal it has waited for every single night for hundreds of thousands of years. Not a pill, not a ritual, just the slow, reliable disappearance of light. The oldest message the sky has ever sent, telling the part of your brain that still listens for movement in tall grass that the night is safe now, that the watch is over, that you can finally let go. And the next time you're lying in bed, unable to quiet your own thoughts, unable to understand why your brain won't give you peace, remember that nothing is wrong with you. You are 300,000 years old. You are still listening for lions that aren't there. You are still faithful to a world that no longer exists outside of your own nervous system. That's not a flaw. That's the deepest kind of loyalty the human brain has ever known.